Today I will tell you a scary story about wrong ways. The sun was beginning to set when Marcus finally spotted the dirt road that was supposed to be a shortcut. His GPS had lost signal half an hour ago, and the last sign he'd passed said the next town was still 70 miles away. He didn't want to drive that far on winding mountain roads in the dark. "This is it," he muttered to himself, glancing at the hand-drawn map pinned to the passenger seat. A coworker at the office, Darren, had told him about it. "Cut through the wilderness road," Darren had said. "It'll save you at least an hour. Locals use it all the time." Marcus turned onto the road. Gravel crunched under the tires as tall pines closed in on both sides. The air turned cooler, and shadows stretched long across the ground. He rolled the window down and took a deep breath of pine and soil. Peaceful. Quiet. Too quiet. He drove for 20 minutes, the road narrowing and twisting like a snake. He hadn't passed another car. No signs. No lights. Just the woods pressing in. Then came the fork. It wasn't on the map. He slowed to a stop, squinting at the two options. Left looked more traveled, but had a large fallen tree blocking half the path. Right descended sharply into thicker forest, the trees dark and tangled. He looked at the dashboard clock. 7:13 p.m. "Guess I'll go right," he said aloud, though something inside him whispered the wrong choice. He drove on, the sun dipping below the horizon. The trees grew taller, the road rougher. Soon, branches scraped the sides of his car like nails on a coffin lid. Another 15 minutes passed. No sign of anything, no houses, no fences, no sounds except his tires on the dirt. His headlights flickered. Just a pulse. And then something darted across the road. He slammed the brakes. It was fast, almost human-shaped, hunched low. He didn't get a clear look. Heart hammering, he peered into the woods but saw nothing. "Deer," he whispered, though he knew that wasn't true. The GPS screen flickered back to life for a second. Just enough to flash one word. "Turn back." And then it went black again. Marcus gripped the steering wheel with white knuckles. He turned the car around, wheels skidding slightly on the gravel as he reversed toward the fork in the road. But as he drove back the way he came, something felt off. The road was different. It twisted left where it should have gone straight. A hollow log lay across the side of the road that he swore hadn't been there minutes ago. The deeper he went, the more unfamiliar it all became. His stomach turned. He hadn't driven this way. He knew he hadn't. His hands trembled. He stopped the car and got out, stepping into the forest air. The temperature had dropped dramatically. His breath fogged in front of him. It wasn't even fully dark yet, more like twilight, but it felt like midnight. He checked his phone. No signal. Battery 22%. Looking back down the road, the car's headlights barely penetrated the encroaching darkness. Trees loomed taller than before, as if they'd grown in seconds. Then he heard it. A low, guttural clicking sound from the woods. Not like an animal. More like something pretending to be one. He turned slowly, eyes scanning the tree line. "Hello?" he called, instantly regretting it. Silence. Then movement. Something shifted behind the trees, large and fast. A shape he couldn't make out, but it wasn't walking. It crawled, and it was watching him. He bolted back into the car, slamming the doors shut, locking it twice. He threw it in drive and floored the gas, tearing down the twisting road. Branches lashed at the windshield. The car jumped and rattled over roots and rocks. The gas gauge dipped below a quarter tank. He didn't know where he was going, just away. And then, the road ended. Abruptly. No warning. No turnoff. Just gone. Like it had never been there to begin with. In front of him was dense forest. Trees packed so tightly there was no way forward. Marcus stared, blinking. He stepped out again, clutching his flashlight. Behind him, the road had vanished. It was trees. Only trees. His car now sat in a clearing that hadn't existed seconds ago. He spun around, pulse hammering in his ears. A whisper. Faint. Marcus. He froze. Nope, he muttered, backing toward the car. Nope, nope, not real. But the whisper came again, clearer this time. Marcus, come here. It was his mother's voice. Except she'd been dead for 4 years. Marcus backed into the driver's seat, slamming the door shut again. His skin crawled. He didn't even try to start the engine. There was nowhere to go. He just sat there, hands shaking, trying to breathe. Okay, think. Think, he whispered. But the forest didn't give him time to think. From somewhere in the trees, a woman began to cry. A soft, desperate sob. Familiar. Too familiar. It was his voice. He blinked. No, not possible. Then the sobs turned into quiet laughter. Mocking. Twisted. And another voice joined it. Then another. They overlapped, mimicked, echoed. Some were people he knew, others he didn't. They were all wrong. Almost right, but just a hair off. Like hearing your reflection speak before you do. He turned on the flashlight, aiming it into the trees. For a moment, there was nothing. Then movement. A shape stepped out from behind a pine. It was a woman, pale, wearing a dirty gray dress. Her limbs looked too long. Her head tilted slightly, as if her neck were too weak to support it. Her eyes gleamed white. No pupils. No blinking. She didn't move like a person. She jerked forward. One step at a time. Marcus blinked and another shape appeared behind her, crouched. Male. Grinning. Its mouth stretched wider than any human mouth should. No lips. Just teeth. The woman spoke. In his mother's voice. Are you lost, baby? Marcus threw the car into reverse and spun the wheel hard. It lurched backward and crashed over a stump, bottoming out. Metal shrieked underneath. He cursed, flooring it, but the wheels only spun in place. They were getting closer. The woman began to giggle. The crouched man skittered sideways, unnaturally fast. Marcus abandoned the car. He grabbed his backpack, flashlight, and ran into the trees. Thorns tore at his arms. Branches slapped his face. But he ran, deeper into the woods, not caring where he went, just away from the voices, the shapes. Eventually, the laughter faded behind him. The forest grew quieter again. Too quiet. The forest opened slightly, revealing a clearing with something in the center, a small, decrepit cabin. Marcus stopped, panting, kneeling to catch his breath. The place looked ancient. Rotten wood. Moss growing from the roof. No windows, just holes where glass used to be. But it was a shelter. Safety. Maybe. He approached cautiously, every instinct screaming at him to run the other way. But he had no signal. No road. His car was God knows where. And night was falling fast. The door creaked open when he pushed it. Inside was a single room, dusty and dark. Smelled like mold and copper. Something wet. A cot sat against one wall, covered in a torn blanket. A rusted stove in the corner. Old tools hanging on hooks, rusted, ancient, coated in something brownish black. And in the center of the room, a journal. He picked it up. The leather cover was cracked. Pages yellowed. The handwriting is shaky. He flipped to the first entry. August 3rd, 1987. I took the shortcut. God help me. I took the shortcut. The road moved. The woods moved. I keep walking, but I end up back at the same place. They wear your skin. They talk like your loved ones. Don't listen. Don't follow the voices. Don't fall asleep. If you fall asleep, they get in. Marcus turned the page. I saw myself today. Same face. Same clothes. It smiled at me and whispered, "You're already dead." I don't know what's real anymore. If you're reading this, you're already part of it. Marcus dropped the journal. Then something knocked from under the floorboards. The knock came again. Louder this time. It wasn't coming from under the floorboards. No, it was coming from inside the walls. The hairs on Marcus's neck stood up. His heart raced as the old house seemed to groan and shift around him. There was something alive in the walls, something waiting. His fingers brushed the journal still on the floor, and he snatched it back up, flipping through the pages. The frantic scribbles continued. More warnings, more pleas for help. Nothing made sense, but one line stopped him dead. They only come out when you're not looking. Don't blink. A noise behind him, a soft shuffle. Marcus turned, breath caught in his throat. Nothing. Just the flickering shadows cast by the dying light outside. He tried to calm himself, but the whispers were back. Low and faint. They felt closer, like they were right beside him. His skin crawled as he stepped backward, toward the door. His foot kicked something soft. He looked down, his stomach turning. A torn piece of clothing. It was a shirt, stained dark with something that looked too much like blood. His throat tightened. Was it his? He stepped away from the door and toward the farthest corner of the cabin. His flashlight flickered, casting brief glimmers across the walls. The knocking under the floorboards continued, but now there was a strange, breathing sound. It was slow, steady, ragged, like something was waiting for him to fall asleep, to let his guard down. He pressed his back against the wall and took a deep breath. The night was heavy, suffocating. He had no idea how long he could last out here. No supplies, no way out. No way to even understand where he was anymore. Then he heard something that sent ice through his veins. A voice. It was soft, barely above a whisper. It's too late now, Marcus. You shouldn't have taken the road. The voice was coming from the corner. The corner where the shadows seemed. Thicker. Darker. He pointed the flashlight toward it. The beam cut through the gloom, landing on something he hadn't seen before. A figure standing just beyond the light's reach. It was tall, too tall, and unnaturally thin. Its limbs bent at angles that didn't seem possible, like its joints had been twisted backward. A hollow, dark shape stood in the corner. Its face, no, not a face. Just two pale, wide eyes staring at him from the darkness, and a smile stretching impossibly wide, teeth jagged and mismatched, like 1,000 sharp edges crammed into one grotesque grin. The thing didn't move. It just watched him, unblinking. The whisper came again, this time colder, more forceful. Don't blink, Marcus. The air seemed to tighten around him. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Everything about that thing felt wrong. It wasn't human. It wasn't anything that should exist in the world. Marcus couldn't take his eyes off of it, even though every part of him screamed to look away, to run, to do anything but stay. But then, it blinked. Once. That was all it took. When Marcus's eyelids fluttered open again, the thing was gone. Not just gone. It was standing right in front of him now. Its breath, ragged and wet, rushed over his face. His flashlight trembled in his hand as he stumbled backward. It spoke. You're mine now. Marcus bolted. He didn't even think about it. He ran, fast and hard, slamming his shoulder against the doorframe as he forced his way outside. His breath was ragged, his legs burning, but he didn't stop. The woods closed in around him again. The dark was thick, oppressive, the trees towering over him like silent giants. But the thing was still there. Somewhere. Watching. Behind him. Footsteps. Fast. He didn't dare look back. He just ran, the flashlight bouncing wildly in his hand, the beam jumping from tree to tree. The breath at his neck. Closer. He could hear it now, its footfalls, dragging across the dirt, too slow, too steady, like it wasn't even in a rush. Then, a voice. You'll never leave, Marcus. He pushed harder, but his legs were heavy, like lead. The forest felt wrong. The path beneath his feet wasn't the same. He was running in circles, trapped in this twisted maze of trees. Ahead of him, a figure appeared. A man. No, wait. It was him. It was Marcus. Standing still, facing him, just ahead in the distance. Impossible. It was wearing the same clothes as him. The same everything. But this thing, this other Marcus, had a smile on its face that wasn't his. That grin. It wasn't real. Before Marcus could think, before he could even scream, the thing lunged. He dodged just in time, feeling its cold fingers graze his arm. He stumbled, falling, rolling down a small hill into a ravine. He didn't have time to recover. He was too disoriented, too exhausted. He scrambled to his feet, only to hear another set of footsteps approaching. The wrong road. The wrong turn. He was never going to find his way out. Marcus's mind was unraveling. His body ached from the fall, but he couldn't focus on the pain. He had to move. The thing, the other Marcus, was still out there, and he was certain it would never let him leave. Every tree, every shadow, felt like it was alive, watching, waiting. He stumbled forward through the underbrush, not knowing where he was heading. The ground sloped downward, becoming rougher, and soon he found himself in a thick, dark part of the woods. The moonlight barely pierced the canopy above. And then, the clearing. At the center stood an old, cracked mirror. It was huge, impossibly so for this isolated place. Its frame was intricate, like something ancient, carved with runes he couldn't understand. But it wasn't the mirror itself that made his breath catch. It was the reflection staring back at him. It wasn't just his face. It was the other Marcus, the thing in the woods, standing just behind him, smiling with that same twisted grin. His reflection smiled too, but it wasn't his smile. The eyes in the reflection, those eyes, were full of something. Hunger. Darkness. "You're mine now, Marcus," the reflection whispered. Marcus felt the world tilt. The ground beneath him swayed. The voice was right, but this wasn't him. This wasn't the way it was supposed to be. He looked down at his hands, trembling violently. His skin was pale, too pale. His fingers were long and thin. The feeling of wrongness crawled up his spine. This wasn't reality. A voice broke through the terror in his mind, clear and forceful. "Don't look away." The voice wasn't his. It wasn't anyone's. It was the mirror. The thing inside it. The reflection. The words made him do something he knew he shouldn't. He reached toward the mirror. His hand hovered in front of the glass, trembling. The air grew colder. Suddenly, a force jerked his hand forward, slamming it into the mirror. The glass was soft, like flesh. It swallowed his hand, and the moment he touched it, he felt a violent pull. It dragged him in. Everything went dark. For a long time, Marcus drifted in a void. Time didn't exist. Reality felt like it was slipping away. He couldn't feel his body anymore, just coldness. An endless, suffocating coldness. Then, he opened his eyes. He was back in the cabin. The floor creaked under his feet. The walls were warped and strange. Nothing looked right, but somehow it felt familiar. Comfortable. Too comfortable. There was the journal on the floor. There was the cot in the corner. There was the mirror still cracked, but reflecting something different now. His reflection wasn't alone. The other Marcus stood beside him, mimicking his every move. The same eyes. The same twisted grin. Marcus took a step forward, trembling. He couldn't look away. The other Marcus didn't speak. It didn't need to. Its eyes said everything. The hunger. The weight. Then Marcus looked at the mirror. It wasn't him. It was the thing that had been hunting him all along. It was the thing that had followed him through the trees. The thing that had been pretending to be him. And now he was trapped. A reflection. A copy. The real Marcus had already been claimed. The forest was alive, and it would never let him leave. The forest was silent. Hours later, a car crept down the same path. It was another lost soul, another person following the same twisted road, the same fateful shortcut. The car slowed at the fork, and a voice from the trees called out, "Are you lost, baby?" It was a woman's voice. The figure that stepped out from behind the trees was familiar. It was him. It was Marcus. He smiled, his eyes wide, empty. And he waited,